Come here, friend. Are you ignoring what's wrong in your life? Has someone tried to tell you that something you were doing is wrong? And have you been ignoring them? Have you been getting defensive with them? We're going to explore that in today's video, all right? But before we do, welcome in or welcome back if this is your first time here. My name is Taylor and I make videos on practical faith, practicing self-love, and preserving your temples. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, go ahead and give me a like and subscribe to let me know. You can even leave your thoughts below. Now, without further ado, let's get into what you came for. Have you been ignoring what's going wrong in your life? Because you know it's not going to go away, right? Listen, we're going to dive into why that is a mistake by using Ephesians chapter 4, verse 18. I'm going to start by reading the scripture, and then I'm going to break down what it actually means, and then I'm going to get into the practical life lessons that would apply to your life today. I only have 3 lessons for you today, friends. So if it sounds like a plan, if you're interested and you're going to stay tuned, then do like that. Do like so like that. That's what that lady be saying, like so like that. Shall we get started? I think so. Join me, friends, in Ephesians chapter 4, verse 18, where it reads, "They are darkened in their understanding, excluded from the life of God because of the ignorance that is in them and because of the hardness of their hearts." Whew. Paul took a turn. Paul took a turn. And what does this turn even mean? Now, I am going to be reading from my notes because if I try to do this from memory, I'm going to mess it up. You're welcome. Okay. Let me take a sip. Etsy shop. Link in the description. Anyway, what is Paul talking about? Paul isn't talking about intelligence or education here. He's talking about perception. Some people don't live wrongly because they don't have information. They live wrongly because they've stopped responding to God. And one of the ways God reaches us is through other believers because we grow together as one body. Someone can function normally and even be successful in life, but they're missing spiritual light, so they start misreading what is actually good. Over time, repeatedly ignoring conviction makes the heart less sensitive. As the heart hardens, they become estranged from the kind of life that comes from God. The inner correction, the conviction, and peace that helps a person recognize right from wrong. This kind of ignorance isn't just not knowing. It's avoiding truth because accepting it would require change. The more someone resists what God is showing them, the more their heart grows hard. Once the heart grows numb, the mind begins to justify what the Spirit once warned about, and eventually their perception of truth becomes distorted. They aren't separated from God because He stopped reaching from them. They become separated because they kept ignoring Him and the ways He was trying to reach them. Man, this is a hard lesson for some. This is a hard lesson for some. Shall we get into the practical life lessons? Shall we figure out, okay, now that we've been shocked a little bit, what are we supposed to do with this information? How do we apply it to our lives? Starting with number 1. Ignoring conviction leads to gradual blindness. The danger isn't necessarily in doing something wrong once. The danger is in repeatedly ignoring conviction until what once bothered you no longer does, and you lose the ability to see truth clearly. So, this is talking about when your sin just becomes your norm. Like, imagine, okay. I want to use, you see people be talking about modesty a lot, right? Modesty with the clothings. So imagine that you like to dress how you like to dress. You're like, no one should be able to tell me what I'm going to put on my body. I can wear whatever I want. My body, my choice, yada, 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 yada. So you like to wear really revealing clothing or really tight clothing. And you know that tight clothing ain't doing you no good. You know that tight clothing make things not right. So but you feel like it makes you look good. You feel like it gives you the attention that you're looking to get. So even though you kind of feel like a small part of you feels like maybe I shouldn't wear stuff like this no more, you ignore it. You push it down. You're like, I'm gonna keep doing what I want to do because this is my body, my choice, and I look good in this, and I get certain attention when I wear this, right? So that's what you keep wearing. You ignore the little conviction that's saying maybe we should not wear this. Maybe we should wear something else, right? And eventually you just keep ignoring that little voice that says maybe we should choose this and not that. The more you ignore that voice, the more it just becomes the norm for you to dress that way. And you become more comfortable dressing that way, even though deep down you know you're not actually comfortable dressing that way. You don't feel comfortable, and you know you're looking for attention in the wrong places. And listen, I can eat y'all up like this because I've been there. I've been there. I used to wear some things that I thought I looked really good in. And you know what? I did look really good in. But every time I wore certain things, I got the wrong type of attention. And it's really funny how the type of clothing you wear really does bring different types of attention. Because when I used to wear certain things, I would always get attention from men that could do nothing for me for real. They just really liked my body. That is all they wanted. All they could offer me was that's all they could offer me, right? But when I started, my sister likes to call me Corporate Tay because for a few reasons, but one of them is because I like to wear trousers. She says, you always dress like you go into a business meeting. And I think I'd be looking cute going to my imaginary business meetings. But what I notice is the way I dress, the way people treat me out in public, I'm telling you, it's something worth experiencing. It is something worth experiencing. How you dress, definitely, like, it shouldn't be that way, but it is that way. Let's just call a spade a spade. It is that way. How you dress will dictate how people are going to treat you. And I done seen it on both hands. When you dress very revealing, people are going to treat you like you're less than. People are going to talk to you like you don't have no respect for yourself because you look like you don't have no respect for yourself. And when you dress in other ways, more modestly, people offer you more respect. People talk to you differently. And when you be going into stores, people will start moving mountains for you, okay? I'm telling you, I done live both sides. And not to say when I was dressing that wasn't in a modest way, I thought I looked real good, but I did always feel uncomfortable. I did always feel like certain areas felt like they couldn't breathe. I did always feel like I had to keep pulling things down. I did always feel like the unease of, I gotta hold this up. Like, it's just uncomfortable. It feels uncomfortable. This is not what this lesson's about, but I felt very convicted to start talking about it because it's a small sin. I remember I went to my company's holiday party and I decided I wanted to wear this little tight, skimpy dress because I'm grown and I could do that. And this was earlier in my walk with the Lord, right? I decided I wanted to wear that little skimpy dress. I felt convicted about that. I felt like I should not wear this to this company party. This is my company party. I said, I look good in this dress. I'm single and I'm trying to mingle. So that is what I did. You know what happened at that holiday party? First of all, this was when I was still drinking. Not me outing myself. This is when I was still drinking and it was open bar. So now I'm dressed like and I'm drunk. You know what that led to? I went to get some food and I dropped the tongue or something in the food and all the sauce splattered on my dress. So now my dress is a mess. Sick. And I was drunk and I ended up flirting with this guy all night. We exchanged numbers, we exchanged Instagrams. Nothing happened beyond that, but I'm like, oh shoot, I'm about to have me a little boo thing. Why did I wake up the next morning? I said, I'm not attracted to this man. You just make terrible decisions. You just make terrible decisions that now when he was texting me, I gotta be like, oh man, I don't want to talk to you. You see how it would be. I would have probably never attracted the attention of that guy if I wasn't wearing what I was wearing too. So it's like sin, it kind of just has a ripple effect on the rest of your life. And I wanted to give a personal story to let you know I'm not above anything I'm telling you. I've lived a life. I've seen it both sides. I've rose above, and now I'm trying to warn you to do better. When you know better, you do better. And it starts with honoring the convictions. You want to listen to that voice, because honestly, the voice that is trying to convict you, it's trying to keep you out of certain situations. It's trying to prevent you from having certain interactions that you would never have if you just don't do the thing that it's telling you not to do. Don't wear the thing that it's telling you not to wear. Don't do the act that it's telling you not to do. It's a means of protection, babe. It's a means of protection. And if you keep ignoring that little protection, it's going to be like, all right, you got it. Do what you want. You're going to stop hearing it, and you're going to start convincing yourself what you're doing is fine. And then the results that you start getting, you start thinking, it's fine. It's okay. It's justified. It don't have to be like that, babe. It don't have to be like that. It really don't. It really don't. Whew. All right, man. That was the Holy Spirit, because that was not planned at all. Shall we move on? I think so. Number 2, your mind follows your heart. When you resist a conviction, your mind will start to justify your choice. Your mind will find beliefs that accept and allow the choice that you made. All right, we're going to switch gears. Let's talk about tipping and tithing, okay? So, back. I used to hate tipping. Hated tipping. And not only did I hate tipping, I either wouldn't do it or I wouldn't do a lot of it, because I felt like, why are y'all relying on me to pay these people bills with my tip? Did I not come and pay for the service? Y'all need to pay these people a respectable wage so they're not looking at me for a tip. I'm paying for the service. I feel like my part is done. That is the mindset I had. And I'm not even gonna lie, I still actually very much have that mindset. I still very much feel like people should not be relying on people to tip. But what has changed is a few different things. The Lord has convicted me about tipping, because not only is everything that we have a gift from the Lord, so it's not mine anyway, it's His. The Lord is very generous with us. So how dare me, not be generous with what He's already freely given us? How dare we look at someone and say, well, they don't deserve this, they didn't do da-da-da-da, or they should, or we come in it with a entitled attitude and say, well, they might as well do this, they're supposed to do this. How dare we do that when the Lord gives us gifts that we don't deserve all the time? How dare we feel entitled to anything when everything is a gift? So the Lord really weighed heavy on me. And then something that Lexis, AWW Lexis, I love her videos. In one of her videos, she said, when you refuse to give, your hand is just like this. You're holding on to what you have so tight. You're holding on to what you have so tight that how could you even receive anything? Because you refuse to open up your hand. Whereas if you start giving, you open up your hand and allow anything to fall in. You open up your hand for abundance. So that really changed me. That demonstration really changed my life. But back when I wasn't tipping, I just told you all my rationale. I felt like I shouldn't have to tip. It's not my job to pay these people bills. I came to pay for my service, and I pay for my service, right? Your mind will justify what's coming out of your heart. Because the real root of the problem with my mindset back then was a lack of generosity. I was very selfish in my heart. I wasn't being generous, and I felt entitled to what I had. Whole time it's the Lord's, and I'm just a steward of it. So how dare I? So your mind will start to justify the decisions you make. And mind you, you have to guard your heart, because everything flows from your heart. So the decisions I was making was stemming from a heart that isn't generous, a heart that is selfish. And my actions followed, and my mindset justified why I was doing certain things. But things have changed. I tip now. I always tip. Sometimes I tip more than I really should, because I'm like, I really can't even afford this. So I'd be like, hey, it's on my credit card. It will get paid off eventually. So that is a conviction the Lord really laid on me. And that was more about tipping. So now with tithing, the Lord recently convicted me about tithing, because I started tithing like a couple months ago, and I was only tithing 5%. And the way I justify doing the 5% is because the Old Testament says that you should tithe 10%, but the New Testament, Jesus talks about not necessarily a specific percentage, but your heart posture when you're giving, because the Lord likes a cheerful giver. So he doesn't want you to give something that you're like doing begrudgingly. I might have said that funny, but he wants a cheerful giver. He doesn't want you to give out of obligation. So it's more about your heart posture and the other areas of your life, how you're showing up. Because it's not enough to say, oh, I always tithe, but you're living a wicked life. Like, that's what the Lord was trying to expose. So I feel like the Lord really convicted me about that just the other day, because I was tithing 5%, which I felt like I can do comfortably. Like, I still missed the money, but I felt like once I learned that tithing is an act of worship, I said, well, I do want to worship the Lord in this way. I do want to show that I'm not attached to money in this way. So let me start doing this. And the Lord let me rock for a little bit, but now he made me feel convicted. Like, first of all, it is an act of worship, and I feel like my faith is being tested, because I feel like the Lord is inviting me in to trust him in a new way. In a season where I feel like I need every coin I can get, in a season where I feel like I need all my coins, the Lord, I feel like, is inviting me through this conviction to trust him more and to lean more into him, because he knows how I feel about my finances right now. He knows I got a lot going on. He knows all of these things about me, and yet he laid it on my heart that I can give up that extra 5%. The Lord has convicted me, and I think it's a test of my obedience. I think it's a test of my trust and my faith in the Lord. So I feel like he's inviting me in to go further with him, right? If I were to ignore that conviction and still just keep doing the 5%, I feel like I would be missing out on an opportunity to grow my relationship with the Lord and see what he can do for me, what more he can do. Because I learned about Malachi chapter 3, I think it starts at verse 10, where the Lord is essentially saying, like, test me in this way and see if I don't open up the floodgates with you. Well, Lord, I'm putting it out there. We about to see. We about to see, because I feel like it also shows, can you release something that the Lord is trying to tell you you can trust him with? So you have to lean into those convictions and be mindful of when you are ignoring a conviction, where's your heart? Like, where does your heart lie? Because it all stems from the heart, and your mind will justify the decisions you make. So you really have to check your heart posture when it comes to ignoring convictions and following convictions. So I said a mouthful with that. Let's get into the last lesson. You need other believers more than you think. God will often speak to you through people before he allows consequences to teach you. So imagine like a kid, right? Imagine back in elementary school, and the kid is just running through the hallway, running. And imagine an adult comes out. He's like, hey, stop running in the hall. And the kid's like, yeah, whatever. I'm going to keep doing what I want to do. And the kid just keeps running. Another teacher says, hey, stop running in the hall. Then the kid's like, oh, got it. Still running. And he turns the hall, and there's a wet floor sign, and he slips and falls and breaks his leg or hip or something. He breaks something. Ooh, a hip at that age, that'd be drastic. But he was warned 2 times to stop running in that hall, and he kept doing what he wanted to do. And it resulted in him hurting himself, something that could have been avoided had he just listened to the warnings that came before that consequence. It's the same way with us. The Lord will use people to warn us, to say, hey, stop doing that. Hey, you don't have to do that. Hey, maybe you should look at it this way. The Lord will send us helpers to help us gain perspective. And if you don't heed warning, if you don't slow down enough to listen to what people are saying to you, to analyze it, to use your discernment, and to make righteous judgment, and to seek the Lord for counsel, if you don't slow down long enough to do that, if you ignore the warning signs, once you get your consequence, the Lord's going to have to scream what he's been trying to whisper to you. And take it from me, who has had a few consequences in life. I've learned to pay more attention to those warnings, because every time you experience a consequence that could have been avoided, you know how mad you be. You're like, oh my gosh, I see it in my head so clearly. It didn't have to be this way. It didn't have to be this way. So take heed to warning. The Lord will often speak to us through other believers and sometimes through other peoples. The Lord can use anything to speak to you. So don't limit the Lord. He can use anything to speak to you. So when you are feeling a conviction, do not ignore it. Because if you ignore it long enough, you're going to wind up with a consequence that could have been avoided. And it's often quite drastic. It's something that once you experience that consequence, you're like, I really wish I would have just listened. I did not have to be experiencing this. So I urge you to stop ignoring those convictions, not to have a hardened heart, to open up your heart and open up your mind and allow the people around you to help you, okay? Okay, what did we learn in today's video? Spiritual darkness doesn't start in the mind, it starts in the heart, and then the mind learns to defend it. Whew. That was a mouthful. You got a bunch of personal stories today. I hope you enjoyed them. Go ahead and give me a like if you did. Go ahead and put in the comments your thoughts. Tell me, what have you been ignoring lately? What has the Lord, you know what? Tell me what came up for you as you was watching this video, because a clear conviction is when people start talking about convictions and you start thinking about a specific thing. Babe, that's your conviction. That is your conviction. So what came up for you? If it's too personal, don't put it in the comments, but maybe just leave a heart saying, hey babe, I hear you. I would love to hear from you. I really appreciate the support I get from your likes and comments. It supports the channel, and I need that support, girl. I need that support. Go ahead and give me a subscribe. If you're not subscribed already, I drop a new video every other day as we are tiptoeing through Ephesians. And when we're done with Ephesians, we're going to Galatians. So if you want to stay along the journey, go ahead and subscribe. I would love to have you here. If you're interested in a 2026 faith-based affirmational calendar or this beautiful Drink the Living water cup that comes in 5 different colors that you can choose from, they are available for sale on my Etsy shop, and you will find the link in the description below. I do hope you take a gander over there, see if you want anything. But don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope to see you here again tomorrow. Thank you for spending this time with me. Thank you for listening to me yap, yap, yap. I hope it was helpful through all the yap. And I love you for listening. I hope to see you here again tomorrow. Bye. Not tomorrow. I gotta get used to not saying that because now we're doing every other day. I'll see you soon. Bye.